right. Well, speaking of Christmas, Shane,
Yes.
is it going to come early for one of these teams for the Golden Boot here?
Ooh.
Arkansas at LSU. LSU favored by 5.5 points. The over-under's 56.5 total points. It's an early one, Shane. They're not used to it on the bayou, getting up early to play one of these football games. 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 a.m. Central Time on the SEC Network. And breaking news, Shane, out of LSU here, our interim coach, Frank Wilson, says Garrett Nussmeier suffered a setback at practice. A little bit. This is a direct quote. It's a little bit concerning. It's something we need to watch with him heading into this game. But at the same time, he says he's probable. So I don't really know what that means. But I assume Garrett Nussmeier will play, but maybe not. Again, we got a couple days before kickoff here, technically. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But hell, it may just be the Michael Van Buren show, and hell, that might be better for LSU. I don't know.
Classic NFL, right here. You got a quarterback that, you draft somebody early and you don't want to, you don't want to throw him out there in the wolves, but the guy in front of him's just sucking it up. So about 3-4 weeks in, he gets this quote unquote injury. And then the next, it's just, I feel like maybe that could be happening, but also these are two totally different quarterbacks. And I'm not saying LSU's looking for a competitive edge against Arkansas, but this would be it, right? Especially that interim coach, he's trying to win the job, which he's not going to get. But at the end of the day, Mike, this is a shame that we're talking about this game third. Out of 8, this is the third one we're talking about. This game used to carry something. It used to carry a lot of weight, and it's not going to until the series starts evening out, which could happen this weekend, Mike.
Ooh.
Just saying. I mean, LSU looked like shit last week. I'm not going to sugarcoat this thing. They were absolutely abysmal, and they're playing this game at 12:45. It's going to be early.
11:45 local.
Oh, God, even earlier, man. You know what I'm saying? They just stopped serving breakfast by the time this game starts, So
yeah,
I'm not going to drag this one out, Mike. I do think that this is a close game. It could be a sloppy game at time, but I've got to pick the best quarterback, and I think the best quarterback resides in Arkansas. Not super confident. That's why I'm Morristown Honda in this thing, but them Hogs going down there getting an upset. Give me Arkansas 31, LSU 30.
So obviously not super confident with the Honda Morristown, but they don't have a conference win. Is this more about 2 weeks to prepare? LSU coming off of what, are you afraid what happened to Florida last week could happen to LSU where they, again, Florida was favored last week against Kentucky. They got their ass hammered.
Yeah.
Are you afraid this is kind of a let go of the rope type game for the Tigers?
You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid that this is going to become some sort of mini shootout, which LSU's not been known to do all season long, and Arkansas has thrived. Yes, they fell short several times, but this is not new to them. And the environment will be loud, but it will not be as electric as it has been in the past. So I just think that's what's going to happen, is that we're going to see both defenses kind of give away a little bit in this game. And I'm just trying to pick which offense I have a little more confident in.
Man, you know who I got all the confidence in, Shane?
Cousin Rick.
It's Texas A&M's biggest fan, Cousin
Thank you, Cuz.
Rick. Dig 'em, Aggies.
Thank you, Rick. Holiday season is around the corner. It would be fun if the podcast picked a charity for the cousins to support. Giga beat the hell out of the Gamecocks.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's roll it out December 1st. Let's try to find one. But we got the cousins got to agree to it.
James says Texas is a sad chair. Let me ask you this. So you said the quarterback you have more confidence in.
Yeah.
Who's the coach you have more confidence in here? Frank Wilson, Bobby Petrino. I think I know the answer, but I'm just asking here.
I think Bobby. I still got Bobby there.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's still fighting for the job, right? I don't know that he's realistically a candidate anymore. It's not like they're getting hammered here in a lot of these games. I think he probably needed to win a couple of them. But, hey, Arkansas, they still have – it's all on the table for them, Shane, to have a nice little season here. If you beat LSU, which I'm not saying you will, and you turn around Texas, we'll get to Texas, Georgia here in a minute, but Texas could be coming off a devastating loss at Georgia. And then, hell, what is the one game? This fan base, I know it's not a rival. Nobody's a rival to Missouri, apparently. Everybody hates Missouri, but they can't beat them. But they've not been able to beat this team. What if they beat LSU, Texas, and Missouri? I almost think you almost got to give his damn job to Bobby Petrino, don't you? If you beat the three teams that are like your rivals, that you hate, that you can't beat them, and you're beating them with this damn team, he'd get some credit for that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would. Absolutely.
But it's got to start on Saturday, Shane.
Yeah.
It's got to start on Saturday.
Do it.
And that's a big reason why I like Taylor Green to get that more than with the rushing over at Prize Picks, Shane, because I think he'll run wild here. Again, Blake Baker's defenses, they don't do very well with a running quarterback. We still have weeks of questionable. I don't think he's going to play in this matchup. I'm a little bit concerned. I think LSU's defensive backs I think it's a tough matchup for Arkansas's receivers. I really do. And what's the perfect cure, Shane, to help an ailing offense? That Arkansas defense. I mean, they're that bad. And what if? I'm not throwing this guy under the bus because I do think he's a good player. But what if LSU's just better overall with Michael Van Buren back here? Because he is mobile. Because the offensive line breaks down and he runs and he can make plays. What if it's just the Michael Van Buren show and he breaks out and they whoop Arkansas? I mean, that's not far-fetched, is it?
No, not at all.
I mean, last I checked, Shane, every damn quarterback that goes up against Arkansas looks like $1 million. You know, I can't think of one. Maybe Auburn. It was more about pick sixes, but everybody else, Shane, I mean, they look like $1 million playing against this defense. So, man, you have to be damn crazy to pick Arkansas in this game. Give me LSU 28. Give me Arkansas 29. Honda Morristown, the Razorbacks get it done. Get their first conference win. This is Honda Morristown pick right here. Double cousin curse. Congratulations, LSU. You're going to win by 50.
Yeah, you're going to destroy them. Damn, Mike. Is there a part of you, and I want you to be honest, Mike, is there a part of you that says, I've got to make up a little ground here? This is the one, or was this seriously a coin toss that you could see going either way? And because I think Arkansas probably here's what I'll say. I had confidence in LSU winning this game, but I think because I'm behind, I'm giving them like a 3-point wiggle room, if you will.
No, I don't care at all about
I know.
catching up and doing all. I just think I don't have confidence in either one of these teams. And I just think 2 weeks to prepare as opposed to getting another devastating loss. We're shuffling quarterbacks. We don't know what we're doing on the offensive line. Where's the confidence there? I don't know. LSU just seems like a train wreck.
Yeah.
And I don't think Arkansas is that good. Hell, they haven't won a conference game, Shane. And last time out, they should have. I mean, they're competitive in all these games. Auburn, they were up, I think, by double digits in the fourth quarter. Mississippi State, they were up in the fourth quarter. Tennessee, they had shots. So I mean, if this game comes down to the wire, it probably favors LSU too because at least they're capable of closing out games. I don't know if Arkansas truly is, but at the end of the day, I think you said it well. Give Taylor Green an opportunity. I know he makes a lot of mistakes, but I trust him a hell of a lot more than I trust Garrett Nussmeier or Michael Van Buren right now. And we may eat those words because Michael Van Buren, he may be the spark that LSU's been needing for a while.
Aaron says the LSU curse will cancel out the double cousin curse and the Hogs will win. So.
Yeah, and also, again, does this have any effect on picking the games or the outcome? Hell no. But I also, if I'm like completely torn, Shane, I'll be honest, I say, well, which fan base would be happier with a win? Who needs this more? Is
Yeah.
LSU, do they give a shit about winning this game? I don't think so. I think they're worried about Brian Kelly's dumbass. Who's the next coach? I think Arkansas, I know they're in a coaching search too, but I think it would just, I don't know. They deserve it after everything
Yeah.
they've been through. Get that golden boot. At least have something to smile about. You know what?
Yeah, exactly. I want to, what makes me smile?
Steven, in old Baton Rouge. So for the golden boot battle, for the golden boot, I love that, it seems like these guys are always battling late in the season. We got another showdown here. Arkansas on the road at LSU. LSU favored by 5.5 points. The over-under's 56.5 total points. 12:45 Eastern kick on the SEC network. Steven, what do you think? The interim bowl here, and LSU does not like playing early in the day, so we'll see how that affects them. What's your thoughts on this one?
Mike, it is the motivation bowl. Who wants it more? Sleepy early start, 2 interim coaches, 2 teams having disappointing seasons, but also maybe some desperation to finish out the year on a high note. So there are some interesting storylines for this one, Mike. And when you look at just the matchups, I think the first one that jumps out to you is Arkansas can't stop anybody, but LSU can't score at anybody. They are just on opposite ends. I mean, LSU is averaging less than 20 points a game in SEC play. Arkansas is giving up almost 40. So I just, can Arkansas get some stops against an offense that's not doing very much? What does LSU's offense look like? Is it Nussmeier? Is it Michael Van Buren? We saw Harlem Berry pop off a big run against Alabama last week. Does he have a good game against this Arkansas defense that's really struggling? So, and also, Mike, when you think about this LSU offense, one of the biggest problems has been the offensive line. Well, Arkansas is not very good against the rush, and outside of Quincy Rhodes, they've had trouble generating a pass rush. So I am just fascinated by this matchup because they can't score, they can't stop anybody. Who wins out?
If only we could combine these teams, right, Stephen? Arkansas offense, LSU deep. We might have a national championship contender here. You know what?
We certainly would have a team that's bowl eligible, right? I mean, come on, man. I mean, LSU's defense is good, and this Arkansas offense can score. I mean, they put up over 40 points against Texas A&M. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much that this matchup will not make. There's nothing about this matchup that makes sense on paper, and I can't wait to see if Arkansas's defense if Arkansas's defense suddenly becomes a juggernaut on Saturday. That speaks to some really bad problems for the LSU offense.
Yeah, and there's unknowns here that would certainly make calling this game much easier. Like if we knew Taylon Green. Now Bobby Petrino says, hey, he was just dealing with some nicks. He was asked, can you provide specifics? He said, yeah, some nicks, but he's good. So again, who the heck knows? But clearly, I think in the recent games that I've seen Taylon Green, he looked, like banged up, I guess is the best way to say it. Now he's still out there. He's still gutting it out. I hope he's 100%. But again, if I knew that would give me a little bit more confidence in Arkansas. Meanwhile, LSU, who knows with Garrett Nussmeier? He got benched last week. Now they're bringing Michael Van Buren. And I certainly think Garrett Nussmeier gives you an edge when it comes to, just his knowledge, his how long he's been playing. He's just, he's got a lot. I know it's easy to sit here and be like, well, what the hell? He's not making the plays. Well, I think he really helps everybody on the field, get lined up, things of that nature, and just identifying what the defense is trying to do. But meanwhile, Michael Van Buren is a much better runner. And if they can't protect, maybe you'd rather have a mobile guy regardless. So there's a lot of variables here just with the quarterbacks for each of these teams that makes this game so hard to predict.
Yeah, it really does. And, we talked earlier this offseason about Taylon Green and some NFL draft stock. Well, if you go out and put up a good performance against LSU's defense, you talk about improving your stock. I mean, last year, LSU held him to -10 rushing yards. So, this Saturday, is he able to make some of those plays? Like you mentioned, he was banged up at the end of the Mississippi State game. So what level that he's playing at, but also, just the fact that we're sitting here in November and saying, Garrett Nussmeier may not play the bulk of the snaps on Saturday. And it's not due to injury, it's due to performance. Just is mind-boggling to me, just of where this LSU offense is this season. And I think you're right about, it's like some of those intangible things. He's been in the SEC for a lot longer than Michael Van Buren. He's seen it, he's done it. Arkansas can throw some things out there. He's able to adjust, especially with an inexperienced offensive line, like having a quarterback who can point out maybe where pressure is coming from is super valuable. But you're also right that Van Buren's mobility could be a huge asset because, LSU's offensive line is just struggling. So there's a lot like quarterback related that I am watching here. And also LSU has had some issues against mobile quarterbacks this year. I mean, Marcel Reed, Chambliss, Pavia. I know the stats from last year on Taylor Green weren't great on the ground against LSU, but you're looking at that, you're looking at motivation and saying, if Taylor Green is healthy and he puts together a good performance, this feels like a game Arkansas could go on the road and win, I think.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And it kind of piggybacks off something I was going to ask you. I didn't even really think about Taylor Green, factoring him into this, but certainly you have to because he's such a dangerous runner back there. But which team in this spot do you have more confidence running the football? Is it Arkansas, who they are much better at running the football, but they're going up against a much tougher defense? Meanwhile, LSU struggles to run the football, but they're going up against a weak defense. So, it's kind of the same dance we're doing here. But which team do you have more confidence in to run the football in this matchup?
Is it fair to say Arkansas?
I mean, perhaps, yeah.
I mean, I just think watching all of the LSU games this year, even against like Southeastern Louisiana, they had 135 yards. Louisiana Tech 128. It's like those defenses they should have been able to impose their will on. And I do think it, really impressed with like Harlem Berry at times this year. If he has like a breakout kind of game, it's got to be this Saturday because the Arkansas defense is so bad. But it's almost like I'm thinking Taylor Green plus Mike Washington. Maybe it's not a ton of yards. It's a lot of hard-earned yards, but just based upon track record, I think you kind of got to lean Arkansas there.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, I know this is like pie in the sky, unlikely to happen, but hey, 3 weeks ago, we had Mark Stoops run out of town, right? What if Arkansas finds a way to win here? Texas, coming off a tough loss of Georgia, perhaps, again, we haven't even got to that, so I'm just kind of imagining if Texas loses let's say a heartbreaker to Georgia and they fall in the playoff. Now, I don't think Texas is even eliminated with a loss at Georgia, but they may be, or even if it's once, I don't know. If it's lopsided, maybe they are. And then Missouri, God, they look so pitiful. What if Missouri loses a game or two down the stretch? Is it insane to predict Arkansas beating LSU, Texas, and Missouri to close? I mean, imagine that the momentum they could possibly have going into the offseason.
I think it's probably tough to ask them to run the table, Mike, but can they win a couple games in that stretch? I think they could win Saturday. I mean, we'll see about Missouri. I think they could win a couple. So to answer your question, it's almost like, yeah, they could build some momentum, but I'm also thinking, man, if we could get Saban back at LSU, we get Urban back at Florida, let's get Petrino back at Arkansas. Like I'm looking at that stretch and going, if they could go 5-7, can we make it happen and get all these, let's run the clock back a little bit and get all the guys back in the league, right?
They'd be the best 5-7 team in the nation, Steven. You know what?
Man, at least they'd be fun on offense. The headlines: Petrino rides again. Man.
All right. So that being said, who do you got winning this one?
Mike, it's tough. It's tough to figure out motivation and who wants it more. And we've talked about the quarterback situation. I trust Taylor Green quite a bit. I like the timing for Arkansas. It's off the bye week, an LSU team that is fading a bit. The problem is this series has been 4 of the last 5 have been decided by one score. Arkansas just can't get stops though. So Mike, I am going to take LSU in a close one. I am going to take LSU to get over the 30-point mark, 31-27. I think LSU beats Arkansas on Saturday.
How many times have they scored 31? 1. Okay, so for the second time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Should say against a power conference opponent or an FBS opponent. Yeah, that I just think Arkansas's defense is so generous at giving up yards and points. There's no fix in the season, and LSU can do enough at home, whether it's Nussmeier or Van Buren, combined with a defense that is still playing at a high level. We saw that on Saturday. I think it's enough to get a close win.
Okay. Mm.